Parker's Kitchen is proud to partner with the Wounded Warrior Project to ensure that local injured veterans receive the life-changing programs and services they need. Please round up at checkout and we'll match your donation.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12 live at 5.
Well, live at 5 across our area, travelers are preparing for a long holiday weekend, and plenty of fireworks shows are set to begin tonight. Good evening, I'm Will Rio. We kick things off by checking in with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale. And Riley, it sounds like we'll be lucky enough to have some good weather for the holiday.
Looking dry, Will. The only concern is that just a bit.
All right, thanks, Riley. With this beautiful but hot weather, many of us will be enjoying a day out on the water. Georgia DNR is preparing for the increase of boaters, which also means an increase in BUIs. Our Audrey Dickerber joined DNR out on the water today to talk how to stay on the right side of the law.
If you're heading to the lake this weekend, it's important to look out for yourself and for others. Georgia DNR has a few tips to make sure you're staying safe this weekend. Georgia DNR says they expect there to be a lot more people on the lake this weekend. They say before you head out on the water to check your safety equipment, make sure you have life jackets and a fire extinguisher on board, and to have your registration up to date. And if you're heading on the water late at night for fireworks, make sure you're showing your navigation and anchor lights. It's also important to make sure you have a designated driver. Last year, there were 5 total BUIs on Clarks Hill Lake 4th of July weekend.
We do bring other people in from other work sections to help out and alleviate any safety concerns, to better the public in all situations, whether it be just a helping hand or an extra eye, making sure everyone's safe and enjoying the holiday.
Coming up all new on News 12 at 6, we'll hear more from Georgia DNR about some other tips that they recommend to keep you guys safe. On Clarks Hill Lake, I'm Audrey Dickerber, on your side.
Thanks, Audrey. A terrible reminder today of the dangers of hot cars. Officials in Cobb County, Georgia, are investigating the death of a 2-year-old boy after he was found inside a hot car last night. At this time, nobody facing any charges here, with the family saying it was a terrible accident. Authorities say it does not appear the child was left in a hot car. While this tragedy is under investigation, it's far from the first of its kind. From 1993 to last year, Georgia saw at least 45 hot car deaths, ranking 5th in the entire nation. A good rule of thumb is never leave your child in a car that is turned off, even for just a moment. A majority of cases involving hot car deaths are accidental. Experts suggest putting something important like a cell phone or car keys with a child in the back seat so you can't leave without them. If you ever see a child left in a hot vehicle, do not hesitate to call 911. An escaped inmate has the South Carolina upstate on high alert. This man, 43-year-old Billy Fletcher, walked off from his work detail in Tennessee on June 20th. Now he's been spotted in Greenville County, South Carolina, and authorities believe he might be connected to a missing persons case in Tennessee. 61-year-old Victor Birchfield has been missing since June 19th. His vehicle was spotted in the Clemson area. Authorities believe Fletcher and Birchfield came into contact with one another sometime during Fletcher's escape. Now the family of that missing Tennessee man is praying for his safe return.
I could have never imagined the pain of looking down banks looking for your dad or his belongings. And as much as I love these beautiful mountains where we live, I hate them right now because that's really been a struggle.
Multiple law enforcement agencies are actively searching for Fletcher in Birchfield as we speak. The family of a church deacon who died after being tased wants the authorities involved to be punished. 62-year-old Johnny Hallman died last August after a traffic stop. His family claims the officer used excessive force and tased Hallman several times after the deacon refused to sign a traffic ticket. Hallman later became unresponsive and died. In May, the city of Atlanta settled a lawsuit with Hallman's family for $3.8 million, but now his family demands action be taken against the officer who fired the taser, as well as the tow truck driver who was on the scene.
My daddy will have justice. His name is not going to go unnoticed. It's going to ring in every household, every history book, every state, every country. Johnny Hallman Sr., y'all will continue to say his name.
In the wake of Hallman's death, Atlanta police changed their policy to no longer require drivers sign off on traffic tickets. Georgia lawmakers made moves to legalize this statewide, but it did not come to fruition. A $13 billion spending plan that'll keep South Carolina running for the next year is now in effect. Governor Henry McMaster signed the new state budget today, but only after splashing some proposals lawmakers sent him. Our State House reporter Mary Green explains what didn't make the cut and why the governor believes it's part of a larger transparency issue with how South Carolina spends millions of taxpayer dollars.
The new budget includes more than $400 million in earmarks, so-called pet projects that individual lawmakers ask to fund, typically back in their home districts. But not every earmark survived the governor's veto pen. Governor McMaster vetoed a total of 21 items from this year's budget, 9 of them earmarks from members of both parties, totaling $2.3 million. His reasoning ranged from projects he believes should be funded another way, or ones that he says they have no way of knowing how exactly that taxpayer money will be used. In recent years, both the dollar and numerical amounts of budgetary vetoes the governor has issued have significantly dropped after he fought to bring more transparency to what had long been a secretive process of funding these projects. But McMaster believes it's still not transparent enough. He renewed his call Wednesday for the legislature to change the earmark request process, through which hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars are divvied up with no public hearings or input, to a new grant-based system.
For some of them, we have no idea of what it is that they're going to do, and we have no idea after they get the money if they ever did it. And this has got to change. This is just not the way to spend the people's money.
The legislature could vote to override those vetoes, but that would require lawmakers coming back into session here in Columbia in the next few months, which leaders in the General Assembly have said they do not want to do, barring any unforeseen circumstances. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
Also among the governor's vetoes was the creation of a new health care market reform study committee. Among other directives, it would have taken a look at expanding Medicaid in South Carolina, something that McMaster has long opposed. The historic YSL trial is now in limbo as the judge overseeing the case is facing calls for expulsion. We'll have the latest on this ongoing battle coming up next. Riley.
And looking to be dry for 4th of July plans, but it is going to be very hot and humid. We'll have a look at that full forecast coming up.
Time and Temp, brought to you by your First Alert weather team.
Introducing the first
Off just a tad Saturday into Sunday, but hot, humid, and the chance for storms most afternoons over the next week.
All right, thanks, Riley. The historic, painstakingly long trial involving Atlanta rapper Young Thug is now totally in limbo. Defense attorneys want the judge kicked off the case. Now the trial is on hold. They accuse the judge of overseeing an improper meeting last month and favoring the prosecution. Rachel Aragon has more.
You're back on the record.
The big question in a historically long YSL trial, what happens if Judge Ural Glanville is removed?
What happens to the entirety of the case, and since he didn't recuse before?
The case can move in many directions since it's currently on hold until a judge rules on whether to recuse Judge Glanville.
We've gamed everything out. We know what we're going to do based on all the options that could happen.
Defense attorney Doug Weinstein, who represents co-defendant Diamante Kendrick, says there's no telling when a jury could be back in the courtroom. Right now, the case could be in the hands of several judges.
You've got the initial judge who's going to decide whether Chief Judge Glanville should be recused, and then you've got the judge that comes in to replace Chief Judge Glanville, and then that judge will decide, what do I do now? Do I just sub in and continue? Is there a mistrial? What do we do?
Well, Weinstein has filed one of the motions to recuse Judge Glanville.
I attempted to, for example, put a clock on the prosecution, limit the number of witnesses.
He also filed other motions to speed up the trial that's dragged on for months.
They should have had bond the entirety of the time.
Several YSL defense attorneys say if Judge Glanville is recused, they would request their clients be released on bond. But what about the jurors who've been sitting in the courtroom for about 7 months and now in limbo?
Who wouldn't feel sorry for these poor jurors who've been yanked in and out of court?
And Judge Glanville made it clear yesterday he has no idea when these motions will be ruled on, and it's out of his control at this point. Defense attorneys also do not have a timeline when a ruling will be made. A couple of Clemson's many lawsuits against the ACC could end by next week, but there's still more looming ahead for the Tigers. The school is bound to be in the conference until 2036, and if they want to leave before then, they would have to pay $140 million. Clemson wants to control their own media rights if they leave the conference, and are also suing over the conference's massive exit fee. Another battle Clemson is fighting is the request by the ACC and ESPN to reschedule its match against USC to play on a Friday instead of a Saturday over the weekend. A new study finds millennials are leading the charge in solo home purchases. Next, tips for first-time home buyers.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
Shanty can fix your...
A new study shows millennials are changing the norm when it comes to home ownership. For one, they're no longer waiting to get married. Consumer investigator Carice Jackman spoke with an expert at Bankrate about their study's findings and has advice for first-time home buyers.
Many still envision the American dream as getting married, owning a house with a picket fence, 2 kids, and a dog. But a new study by Bankrate shows that dream has been reimagined, especially for millennials.
Buying a home with a domestic partner or spouse does continue to be the most common way to buy a home, but millennials are also buying homes in other ways.
Bankrate's new study found 42% of millennials are more likely to purchase a home by themselves than older generations. And millennials are more likely to have purchased a home with a friend than Gen Xers or baby boomers.
Buying a home with a friend or relative other than domestic partner or spouse does continue to be less common on the whole, but 10% of millennials have purchased a home with a friend, and that is significantly higher than Gen Xers and baby boomers, which are both below 5%. So I think this is something that's emerging. I think it's a trend that's kind of just getting started.
But why? Haley believes many millennials are either choosing not to marry or delaying marriages. But the dream to own a home is still pretty strong.
Over 70% of millennials told us that owning a home is still a key part of the American dream, which just means that they're going about it a little differently.
As for advice for first-time buyers, Gailey says she knows affordability is a problem right now, so she suggests finding ways to save to build up your funds for a down payment.
You want to have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved in an emergency fund. You want to have as little to no debt as possible when you're going into home ownership.
She also says take advantage of down payment assistance programs, specifically for first-time home buyers.
Every state has a down payment assistance program. Many local governments do as well. And these are really programs that allow you to put less down for that home and be able to essentially enter home ownership a little easier than maybe you previously would have if you had to put 20% down or even 15% down.
Regardless if you have a spouse or not, look at ways you can save $1 and find programs out there that best suit your needs so you can get one step closer to obtaining the keys to your dream home. With this watching your wallet, Carice Jackman on your side.
And soldiers with South Carolina's National Guard getting a very warm welcome home. Take a listen. There. We actually brought you this welcome home celebration live this time yesterday from West Columbia. Soldiers with the 1,782nd Engineer Support Company arrived home after nearly a year in Africa. They were doing training there along with members from the Alabama National Guard. Welcome home to them. Riley.
Welcome home to them and good work, and I know those are some very happy families to see those family members back. Hey, if you're heading to the lake for 4th of July, be careful out there. A lot of boat traffic the next couple of days, and be safe with fireworks too. Now a quick look at the forecast just after the break.
Folks, at Davis Supply.
I can't wait to dig into my Bojangles WWE sandwich combo with WWE Collectible Cup.
Me too. Me 3. Me 4. Get the WWE and Bojangles combo. Collect all 4 cups. It's bow time.
Morning, afternoon, night, Monday through Sunday, 24/7. Our First Alert commitment to you is the power of 5 meteorologists, always tracking weather that impacts you, telling you what we know as soon as we know it. All the tools, the latest technology, and the first team of 5 meteorologists. First Alert is our investment in your family's safety. News 12's First Alert weather on your side.
Well, are we ready for this?
What's next, Grandma?
Hayden, do you want to cut the banana?
Okay, let's do it.
Look at him. Now comes the best part, the Bluebell ice cream. Oh, that's fun. Hey, how about some chocolate? And some sprinkles.
How's this, Grandma?
That looks so yummy. You know, your mom is gonna love this. Don't forget a spoon.
Don't snooze on Ashley's.
Thanks, Riley. Fort Eisenhower is kicking off the 4th of July tonight with carnival rides, music, food, and, of course, plenty of fireworks. Our Hallie Turner is live at 5 out on post. And, Hallie, all of this fun kicks off at 6 tonight, so there's still plenty of time for anyone who's interested in heading out there.
Oh, yeah, if you're coming out here tonight, you're going to probably want to come now. People are starting to come inside on post, and they're moving around. You can honestly smell the sunscreen out here. I did hear one lady ask her husband earlier, did he have deodorant on? So that's probably another thing you're going to want to bring. But we're going to pan things right over here. You've got a lot of rides that are about to start. This thing that spins around may make you a little bit sick. Then you've got the rapid slide. There's a long food court that wraps around right back there. You can see there's families out in the park. Will, I saw someone earlier decked head to toe in the American flag. Honestly, way more than what Gary would ever wear. So you've got a lot of kids around here running around. You've got bouncy houses. The stage is down there where the band will kick off in just a little bit. And then they've got, again, food courts, places to eat. You want to stay hydrated when you're out here, like what Riley said. It's super hot. So, again, things kick off at 6 o'clock. Fireworks are set to start around 9:45. It's going to be a fun time, so come on out.
And if you guys don't know who Gary is, he's our Chief Operations Manager. He probably loves America more than anyone I've ever met. So to see someone dressed up more than he was is incredible. But thanks again, Hallie. Again, the gates open to the public at 6, and the fireworks will kick off at around 9:45 or so. And one of the largest firework events tomorrow has to be Boom at the Park in Columbia County. Thousands of people will head to Evans Town Center Park to enjoy local food trucks, support local businesses, and enjoy the huge fireworks display. Julius Evans is live at 5 in our newsroom. And Julius, events like this are a big part of supporting our local economy.
Well, county organizers say Boom in the Park is the busiest event for Columbia County, and businesses and stakeholders say that has a lot to do with the ever-growing investment that's pouring into downtown Evans. Organizers say they expect anywhere from 14,000 to 16,000 people to come out. There will be more than 30 vendors with food and activities with live entertainment to enjoy. Local businesses like Southern Time Clothing say they are looking forward to the extra foot traffic tomorrow and the county continuing to give people reasons to come out.
It has just grown and developed, and new restaurants and businesses, and it's awesome to see the community really come out and support all of those businesses, especially us being a small business. The community's been nothing but amazing.
Coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock, you'll hear more from businesses about downtown Evans' growth and the vision behind the county's plans to expand.
These events certainly helping a lot of our local businesses. Obviously, Thunder Over Evans is another fireworks show that helps a lot of those businesses in the area. Thanks, Julius. In addition to Fort Eisenhower's fireworks show tonight, Burke County's fireworks show is also tonight. That's starting at 6 at Jonathan Broxton Park. There will be food trucks there, and the fireworks will start after sunset. And tomorrow there's Boom at the park, like we just discussed, as well as a show at the Augusta Common with plenty of music, food, and entertainment. Fireworks there start at 9:30. Same thing in Aiken. There will be at the Village at Woodside. They'll have plenty to do ahead of at the Reserve Club's fireworks show after sunset as well. But of course, with all these fireworks shows, the noise can be triggering to our veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. Combat-related PTSD can trigger both mental and physical reactions to those loud booms, especially when they're unexpected. Today, our Kennedy Payne sat down with 2 local veterans on how this patriotic holiday can be difficult as well.
The truth of the matter is that the veteran, the individual, might be fine on the 4th because they've steeled themselves for all of this. Yet what ends up happening is that When it's all done, it's the 5th, and they try to go to sleep.
And all new on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we'll look at some ways that you can keep folks with PTSD in mind while still enjoying your 4th of July holiday. A suspect is now in custody after barricading himself inside a home this morning. Here was the scene this morning on Basswood Drive, where deputies arrested 27-year-old Tyrell Lewis. Lewis was wanted for aggravated assault for a shooting that sent one man to the hospital back on May 24th on Mike Padgett Highway. Richmond County SWAT team was able to take Lewis into custody without further incident. Ahead of the holiday tomorrow, plenty of folks are preparing to host family and friends, and we're in the South, so that means plenty of barbecue here. For local joints like Sconiers and Duke's Barbecue, we saw lines wrapped around the door. We saw a lot of posts on Facebook today as well. We even spoke to one man who says he was in line for 2 hours to pick up his pre-order.
It's that good. I got a daughter from Colorado here, and of course, she used to patronize Sconiers a lot, and she loves the hash and rice, so here I am.
Doing his job there for 2 hours. And get this, Duke says they've already sold at least 650 pounds of barbecue, and they say that's the most they've ever sold since reopening. 2 Union spies who carried out a historic train heist in Georgia during the Civil War have just been... A suspect is now in custody after barricading... 2 Union spies who carried out a historic train heist in Georgia during the Civil War have just been given the Medal of Honor. Our State House reporter Abby Kasoris shares the story of the great locomotive chase.
It's an absolute exercise in bravery and daring.
It's a story inspiring books and films told here at the Southern Museum of Civil War and Locomotive History.
I think they had a deep commitment to their community, to their country, to their ideals, and that's what they stuck to.
In 1862, in the thick of the Civil War, civilian spy John Andrews led 22 Union soldiers on one of the first major special operations.
They did it for glory, stealing this locomotive, traveling almost 100 miles in enemy territory, tearing up railroad track, and cutting telegraph lines.
Their locomotive chased by Confederate soldiers. They ditched the train a few miles outside of Chattanooga. After 12 days of thousands of soldiers searching, the 22 men were captured. Several were executed.
Above each image you can see are the medals indicating that they have received it, and we'll need to add one for Philip Shadrach, and then also for George Davenport.
To receive the Medal of Honor 162 years later. According to historical documents, just before Wilson was executed, he addressed the crowd, saying he did not regret dying for his country, because he knew the people would soon see the Union flag flying over them once again.
This war is still relevant today. In a lot of ways, we're still grappling with the Civil War and a lot of meaning over states' rights, over federal government, over racial issues.
For the soldiers' oldest relatives receiving the medals, this was an important moment.
As they thought about others, they put themselves aside and thought, what is the best thing I can do for my community, for my country? And so I think that's a very valuable lesson.
In Kennesaw, I'm Abby Kasoris.
A local man is now a 3-time winner of a hot dog eating contest. Mike Alino took home gold Tuesday during the Independence Day hot dog eating contest at RecTech in Evans. He managed to eat 7 hot dogs in just 4 minutes. There were 11 people total in that contest there, but we can see if we get Joey Chestnut in one of these, since he's not allowed in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. But hey, 7 in 4 minutes, still impressive there. The West Nile virus found in Georgia mosquitoes, how you can avoid getting sick, that's coming up next. And Riley, I need to know, could you do 7 in 4 minutes?
Ooh, that would be a tough accomplishment. Well, I don't know if I could do that, but maybe we have a local competition here. We can test it out. Hey, the fireworks are going to be lighting up the sky tonight, tomorrow night, but you may have saw this early this morning. We'll take a look at that and the forecast just after the break.
Time and Temp, brought to you by your First Alert weather team.
I'm here for you. I'm Nora O'Donnell with the CSED News.
Brandsmart USA in Augusta Exchange.
Well, take a look at this. Some awesome photos and videos sent in by local viewers caught an early morning SpaceX launch from Cape Canaveral, Florida. This was at around 5 this morning. People all the way in the upstate caught this awesome sight. The company says they launched a reusable rocket carrying 20 Starlink satellites. And Riley, here's a video now shared by SpaceX showing the moments of liftoff early this morning. Incredible sight to see, even though we are more than 400 miles away from where that rocket took off. I know a lot of people question, were we seeing aliens? No, we were not. It was just the Falcon 9 rocket. I believe it's called the Falcon 9.
Yeah, it's a crazy sight to see, Will. And the thing was, this wasn't necessarily supposed to be a launch that we could see that was supposed to be super visible. They had to delay it until it got closer to sunrise, so that vapor trail was able to be illuminated by that rising sun in the east.
It's a really cool sight to see with that orb around it almost that's following it.
It is. It's so crazy, and it kind of gives the illusion that it's kind of shallow in the sky, but it's just so high up into the sky, but we're so far away, you're just seeing it relatively lower. So pretty cool, just due to the curvature of the Earth right there. But that was taking Starlink satellites to space, and we'll be able to see that Starlink satellite chain over the CSRA again tomorrow morning. You do have to be up early. That's a time frame that I'm not going to see, but between, say, 5:04 and 5:07, that's when they're going to be visible across the area. And if you've never seen them before, they just look like a string of lights, and that does look very UFO-like if you've ever seen that before. So if you're going to be up early looking in that sky, you may see that, and don't be too alarmed. Here's a current look over Clarks Hill Lake. This is going to be a busy spot. Keep an eye on the sky for a few storms.
Thanks, Riley. The West Nile virus has been detected in Georgia mosquitoes, and there are more cases expected as summer heats up. While this isn't too uncommon for Georgia, Anna Stansfield spoke to one researcher on how you can keep you and your family protected.
Experts here say 17 mosquitoes have been found with West Nile and Chatham County since June 10th. A number they say isn't shocking, but one they do expect to continue rising throughout the summer. That number is something the director of Chatham County Mosquito Control says isn't much higher than usual.
That's just kind of normal June, to tell you the truth.
While Turi Carlson says these cases aren't alarming, he tells me it's still time to pay extra attention.
Now there's a little bit more of a health impact with them than just welts and itchy spots.
According to the CDC, 80% of people that contract West Nile virus won't have any symptoms. If you do see symptoms, the CDC says those will range from things like fever, sore joints, or rashes. As Carlson expects numbers to rise throughout the summer, he has a few tips, like making sure to have an EPA-registered repellent and wearing pants in long sleeves when you can.
I know it's hot in the Mid-South, and not everybody's going to want those sleeves and those pants on, but obviously if you can put that barrier between you and a mosquito, it helps even more.
Carlson says the rain we're currently seeing will likely increase mosquito populations about a week from now. Getting rid of any standing water in your yard is something he says is crucial.
Draining water around the house. We know not all mosquitoes are coming from backyards, but there are quite a few that do.
He also tells me the mosquito that transmits the West Nile virus is a sunset mosquito, so avoid going outside during that time if possible.
With the 4th of July coming up, that's going to be tough on Thursday night probably, but you have those other options of covering up and using your insect repellent to help you enjoy fireworks.
If you've got a dog or a cat like Mitch who likes to get out and roam around, they may get lost. I'm Jamie Tucker coming up with an ingenious way to find a lost pet.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
Please join me for a live educational webinar where I'll break down every aspect of Medicare. I promise you'll walk away feeling confident and prepared to take the next step on your Medicare journey. It's free to join, and you can sign up right on our website, RU64.com.
When the power goes out.
So call Southern Swag today, 706-294-0244.
What are they doing here?
I don't know. AC is acting funny.
It seems like everything's fine with the air conditioning. Is anybody messing with the temperature?
RU64.com.
Well, there's a new way for pet owners to find your lost pets without having to go to the vet. Our consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker has more on the story.
What the Tech, sponsored by Augusta Preparatory Day School.
Hey, buddy. Mitch is an indoor dog, but like the 90s rock song from Steve Winwood, when he sees a chance, he takes it.
Yeah, well, like, if he gets out or if, like, the mailman comes, he can open the door, the glass door, and he just sprints.
He's chipped so someone who finds him can take him to a vet to have it scanned, but now Mitch has a new collar tag from Fido Alert.
On that tag, we put a QR code, we put your dog or cat's name.
John Bradford started this company about 2 years ago. Here's how it works. When a pet owner signs up for a Fido or tabby tag for cats, they enter what the pet looks like, the breed, name, and any identifying features, and up to 10 emergency contacts. If someone finds the pet, all they have to do is scan the QR code with their phone.
We collect their name and number, and we then text it to all 10 people.
No app is needed, just that QR code.
When you call that person, they'll say, yeah, I've got your dog, and then you coordinate and you go pick up your dog or your cat.
Nearly 1 million pet owners have registered some 1.3 million dogs and cats and reunited 38,000 of them. The tags aren't a replacement for microchips, but it is easier.
Challenge with a microchip, I know, is someone who sees a stray dog has to be willing to put that stray dog in their car and drive them up to a vet or drive them up to a shelter. And a lot of people are leery about doing that.
With a Fido Alert tag or Tabby Alert for cats, they only need to scan the QR code and wait for a call. Get this, they don't sell any data to a pet store, and there is no monthly fee. They say they do it just for the love of pets. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
Well, America's birthday is tomorrow, and that means kickoff for the Georgia high school football season is exactly 44 days away. Our sports director, Dan Booth, joins us now to dive into the progress the West Side football team has made this offseason.
As the old saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day, and the same goes for football teams who have dreams of making the playoffs and maybe even winning a state championship. Over the past couple of seasons, a lot of young players have seen the field for Westside. After going through their fair share of struggles, this could be the year where all of their hard work finally pays off. The Patriots have not made the playoffs since the 2021-22 season. Head coach Lee Hutto believes the depth and the level of competition that brings to his roster could help translate to some wins this fall.
Right now, the biggest thing is trying to develop some depth, trying to get some depth on both lines of scrimmage, trying to develop some depth in our secondary. We've got some depth in some areas that we haven't had in the past. We got some depth at running back, some depth at receiver, some depth at H-back and tight end.
Senior running back Janarion Kamga could be a really fun player to watch this year. He's electric in open space with the ball in his hands. That's it for sports. We'll be right back after this quick break.
We're standing up for our lazy boy. Long live the lazy.
Welcome back, folks. Here's a look from our SRP Park Cam. No game tonight, but they do have games starting again tomorrow night, lasting through the weekend. So taking on the Fireflies. If you're heading out this evening, we do look dry. If you're heading out to the game tomorrow night, it is going to be a warm one, but they do have that post-game fireworks show for July 4th, so it should be a good outing at the ballpark. Dry weather tomorrow, but better storm chances as we head into the weekend.
All right, thanks, Riley. Stick with us. We have more news, weather, and sports coming up after a short break on News 12 at 6 o'clock.